What's going on? How you doing? This is the Sports Counterpoints podcast. Today is January 21st, 2026. I'm GB. I got Brian and Coop with me. What's going on, my guys?
Back again.
Back at it, back at it. So let's get to it, man. We had a bunch of football as usual. Of course, basketball's going on. We will talk about basketball. I keep teasing. Yes, it's gonna come out once we get to All Star, so we'll get to that too. But football. Starting with the NCAA College Football Championship. Indiana completes their journey, wins a championship. They beat Miami 21-27. Coop, since your team was in it, man, what were your thoughts?
Hard to watch, man. Hard to watch. Miami should have won this game, but like Ole Miss, man, they came out conservative and just had a lot of penalties. I always said, you play in the championship game, you have to take a championship. You just can't expect to have one handed to you. And the one thing that worried about me this game was the mistakes that Miami made because they don't play button up, and Indiana does. Indiana just doesn't beat themselves, and that's good coaching. They've been doing it all season. As far as Miami on the other hand, 10 penalties last week against Mississippi and then seven against Indiana. But the thing about Miami, they get those personal fouls and pass interference, all those big penalties that kind of, mess the team up and they can't seem to get out that hole. But in the first half, they didn't score any points. I didn't understand coming out in the game, getting Mendoza kind of in a rhythm by playing soft zones 10 yards off the receivers, giving him easy completions. I didn't understand that. You kind of want to make Mendoza kind of work for it, but they let him get into a rhythm early. They missed a lot of tackles. I don't know if you guys saw the game, but Miami could not run in short yardage situations. It was pretty evident early, but they kept doing it. I almost felt like Kyle Shanahan was coaching the team. You know it's not working, and you still keep doing it. Miami doesn't have a good field goal kicker, and Miami was playing very conservative, ultra conservative in the first half. My Indiana really didn't have to work for it, and they tried to get a 51-yard field goal, knowing we have a bad kicker, and of course, he missed it. Indiana's first touchdown in the first half came off a 3rd and 6 pass interference call, then later an offsides penalty on the 3rd and long call. So Miami was just killing themselves. Indiana took advantage. They just didn't have to work for it. And then in the second half, Miami kind of opened up the playbook after being down 24-14 after another special teams blunder, a blocked punt. Never understand why punters have to run to the right in college before they kick. NFL, they don't really do that. They get the ball and just kick it. Not sure why they have to do that in college, but ended up getting blocked and Indiana scored. Just a lot of defensive lapses for Miami, and Indiana just played a cleaner game. And even in the second half, another thing, the announcers kept talking about how Indiana had 3 receivers on one side, but Miami only had 2 DBs. So Mendoza just threw it to the guy who was open, who didn't have somebody covering him, and that guy ran for first down. So it's like things like that shouldn't happen. And then the final play of the game, I mean, not final play, final drive of the game for Miami, it was a minute and 42 seconds left. They come back from commercial and they get a delay of game penalty. I mean, stuff like that just doesn't happen to teams that want to win national championship games. And so, how do you come back from a commercial and get a delay of game penalty? You should already have the play ready, set, and ready to go.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, Miami just didn't deserve to win the game. I don't think Indiana's the greatest college football team ever, probably the oldest, but not the greatest. But they just played a cleaner game, and they deserved to win that game. Miami shouldn't have won, and I was pretty much checked out that Miami wasn't going to win that game after that block punt. Brian, I don't know how you felt about it.
I thought it was a pretty good detailed summary right there. I'll just add a little bit of color, which was, I thought it was telling that Miami was still in the game, given all
Yeah.
the blunders and mistakes.
Mhm.
The game, if you didn't see a scoreboard and someone asked you in the fourth quarter what the score was, you would have thought the spread would have been bigger than it was actually, right? And Miami actually outscored Indiana in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were doing what they could to get back into contention, to give themselves a shot. Reality of it is just as you said, Indiana played a cleaner game. They did what it took to not lose the game,
Right.
and they've been doing that all season long. It's sort of like playing two grandmasters playing chess. The idea here is you let the opponent beat themselves. You let them figure out how they want to lose, and you just don't make mistakes. They weren't going for the big plays unless they needed to. They were just, as you said, taking what was available to them, making the smart smart passes, smart plays. I mean, and waiting for the moment, and that moment happened to be a blocked punt, score for a touchdown. I mean, that was the difference in this game. It was one big play, one big mistake, and ultimately that was where everything landed. But hats off to Miami. I never thought that they were that good this year, but they had more total yards. You know, they played well. I always thought that Indiana was probably the best team in the country, and they hung with the best team in the country.
Yeah.
So they were very, very close to being good enough to steal one away from the best team in the country.
Yeah, and look, I'm gonna say one thing about Mendoza. I'm still not a fan of his talent, but I am a fan of his toughness because he was getting hit pretty hard, and he kept coming back. Just making plays when he could, when he had the opportunity. And that run he had on fourth down, he should have been tackled earlier. But Miami refused to tackle. They just want to hit people instead of actually tackle. And he ran in for that touchdown, man. That took a lot of guts, man, on 4th and 5 to actually make that call, and then for him to make that happen into a touchdown play. So like I said, I might question his individual talent, but his toughness is something I can't question. He played his ass off in that game.
Fun stat line. He had 7 carries for -8 yards and 1 touchdown.
All them sacks, probably.
Yeah, sacks. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good run. He actually showed because I don't really watch college ball, so he's big, like he's tall and lightweight, nimble too. I was kind of surprised. He was light on his feet, moving around, making some movements. It was an interesting play, but yeah, it was a good game. So it's your national college champion. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. Indiana, they win it. Cignetti gets his championship too. So I think I finally saw him. Yeah, we finally saw him smiling and jumping around. Typically, he's the Grinch with it. So that was cool. So yeah, Indiana wins. So from college to the pro playoffs, man, let's talk about it. Let's start with Saturday's game, Bills versus Broncos, man. Broncos win 33-30 in overtime. Pretty hell of a game. B, what'd you think about that one?
This game is a disgusting travesty of sports and should this is the reason why there's so many complaints about referees in general.
Okay.
What happened on that last drive is just wrong. And it happened multiple times. There was, a PI call that wasn't there. There was a catch that they didn't even bother to review on an interception. It's disappointing. The Bills won that game. So let me say that clearly. The Bills won that game. Yes, the Broncos are moving on. But what happened to the Bills?
Okay.
And not a Bills fan. Not even a little bit of a Bills fan. I like Josh Allen, but this is not me saying that the Vikings or whatever got robbed. As a matter of fact, I almost never say the Vikings got robbed. They do what they need to do. But when you put all of the safeguards in there, every turnover gets reviewed. How do they not even review that interception, which was a catch and down by contact? Clearly, it's just disappointing. Now, for the rest of the game, people are going to talk about Josh Allen this, Josh Allen that. McDermott lost his job. We'll talk about that in a little bit over this. It's an unfortunate series of things where everybody but the people who probably should have been blamed, which is the GM, are going to, not get the blame. They're going to be Josh Allen didn't do it. Well, dude had 3 touchdowns and almost 300 yards. The coach didn't do what he needed to do. He can't overcome the fact that there was a catch and down by contact. Meanwhile, the Bills just have a very flawed roster, and it was exposed in this game. They've never really been able to put it all together. They have bright spots. They have Cook, who is the number 1 rusher in the league. They've got Allen, who's probably one of the more dynamic quarterbacks in the league. And they've got 5 guys you probably couldn't name at wide receiver. An offensive line that isn't able to protect, and a defense that isn't top of anyone's list of defenses they want to run. And yet they were in a game where you should have had a chance at being playing in a conference championship. The Broncos, on the other hand, and we'll probably talk about this more in this week's game, continued to fight. Nix did everything he could to find a way to win that game. Ultimately gave the rest of his season for the team to have that opportunity. Congratulations to them. And it's just unfortunate that the thing that I will remember the most about this game is how it ended and the refs, and not that two very solid teams played a pretty interesting, entertaining football game that happened to go into overtime, all thrown away because the NFL just can't figure itself out. Go ahead, Jason.
I like it.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm surprised. Yeah, that was good. I was surprised Buffalo. I think they had 5 turnovers this game. They were still had a chance to win this game. It was amazing. I thought they should have lost last week, and they somehow pulled it out. I thought they were going to pull it out in this game, but they didn't. I guess I had a different take. When I first saw the play, I never thought he actually caught the ball. Always thought it was interception. If you just don't watch it in slow motion, because they say that you have to complete the catch even when you're on the ground. So when he was on the ground and then ended up, I thought they tangled up together with the ball, and the defender ended up snatching it from him. I've seen that happen before, just not in a playoff game, and they called it an interception. So I understand what the controversy was, because it's so with the NFL, you look at some things, it's like, okay, that's not a catch, but they call it a catch. And then other things, it's a catch, but they don't call it a catch. So I totally agree with, and with NFL officiating, especially with catches and things like that, in pass interferences, it's just all over the map. It seems like they call what they want to call during the game. I would have had no problem if they called it a catch, but I thought it was an interception when I first saw it. But I did not know that Josh Allen is 0-7 in overtime games. Maybe that's not on him. Maybe that's also on the roster. Well, maybe it's on him and the roster as well. But I didn't expect Buffalo to win this game. I said they're built like a big, like they should be playing the Big 12 in college football. We'll talk about McDermott getting fired anyway, but he's a defensive coach, and the defense just gave up another 30 points again. I think they did the same thing last week. They gave up 27, 30 points. So the defense, just doesn't help Josh Allen out at all. And unfortunately, he's out the playoffs again this year.
He took it pretty hard too, man. Was crying at the end of the game. Another L.
I get it.
I get it for sure. I thought it was when I was looking at him, and then I can't think of his name, Dion, the other lineman. I can't think of his last name, but the way they were looking looked like they knew the team was never going to be the same, and coaches were gone or something. Like, I understand a loss, it's another loss, you take it, but he looked like he knew, heads
It
were
didn't
going to roll.
take him long to make those choices, so they had to have some ideas coming.
Yeah,
right, for sure. So we'll see what happens.
4 turnovers is a lot to, again, I don't think this was on Allen. I thought he played pretty darn well, but 4 turnovers it's a lot of turnovers. It's easy to understand why he felt some kind of way about what he did. He said he felt like he let the team down. To some extent, he did. I don't think he was the reason they lost. I think that the thing, and my point on the catch versus interception was they didn't even review it. All turnovers are supposed to be reviewed. That's the tenet of the new replay rules. They didn't review it. It's just
I thought they did it quickly. Okay, I thought they did it quickly.
Yeah, I thought
it was. It seemed like it was real. It seemed like it was rushed. It seemed like it was really rushed. I thought they did it and just made a decision just like that. It was like, okay, interception. But I don't know. Maybe they didn't. I thought
no one went under a hood.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it was interesting, man. That's one thing about the NFL. They're going to give you a little controversy, something to talk about at the end of the game, for dang sure, when there's playoffs involved.
And the thing about it is, Glenn, and Brian, NFL doesn't care. As long as you keep watching, they do not care about these damn referees. They don't care at all. They don't care.
Yeah, no.
It's amazing to me that you can have a multi-billion-dollar company, and you can have such a glaring problem, and they just don't do anything to professionalize it.
Yep.
Yeah,
they like Shanahan with offensive linemen. He don't care.
You got multi-million-dollar players and coaches and organizations hanging on the whims of someone making $150. I mean, referees make a good amount of money given the amount of time they have to put into it.
Definitely.
But pay them more and make them better.
Training or something. They change a few rules per year. And then
make enough
that's
money
about
that
it.
you and I are out there trying to become refs, in the NFL.
Yeah,
So.
no, great point, man. So next game, Coop, man, go ahead and start us off, bro. I don't know. You only
Well,
get
look,
six. You get 1 minute per point of 49ers.
I, I thought this would happen in Philly, but it didn't happen in Philly. It happened to happen in Seattle, which I figured it would happen in Seattle.
It's got to be worse though,
You
because it's
know,
rival, right?
no, no. Because
I'd
the thing
rather
is,
Philly.
I think if we were full strength, I think we would have beaten Seattle. But clearly we're not, and Philly is just in shambles. They should have beat us. But look, 49 receivers, look, they couldn't get open, and we just don't have the horses to compete. This was a team that Seattle should have beat by a lot, and they did. I don't want to see any of these defensive linemen back on the team next year because they're backups, and when you have a backup, you're supposed to fill in for the veterans. They haven't filled in all season, so there's really no need to bring them back on the team. But also, there's another glaring weakness is that Shanahan just can't score points against Mike McDonald's defense. He continues to run against his defense, and he continues to get shut down. It happened with Baltimore a couple years ago when he played. He kept trying to run, shut that down. The way to beat Seattle is you have to pass. That's why the Rams always have so much success against them because they don't try to run 20 and 30 times a game like Shanahan. They're just trying to pass 40 times to beat Seattle because there's holes in that defense. And what happens is when you try to run, you get in third and longs, you get yourself in a hole, and then you get yourself in the hole. You have to pass to win. They know you're going to pass, and it's just all bad because if they know you're going to pass, you can't. They don't really have to play honest, and so it was just spiraled out of control, which I thought would happen. No 49er fan I know was tripping off this loss. We knew it was going to happen. It's just a matter of when. This was the game that it happened, but it is concerning that Shanahan didn't really try to change his game plan. He's only made field goals against Seattle the last two games, 3 points last game and 6 points this game. And, that's just not going to get it done to beat a team like Seattle, whether we were full strength or not. Brian, I don't know how you felt about the game.
So I actually think that it's easier to accept a loss when you get kind of beat down like this, right? It's not like, if you're the Buffalo Bills, by example, it's much harder to go and be like, man, we were this close. This happened, and one little thing, we were one little thing away from winning or being able to advance. In this case, there was absolutely nothing the 49ers could do at any point in time in this game. It was 17-0 before the first quarter was over. It was obvious. I've been saying for a long time that Seattle's the best team in the NFL. They just continue to prove it. They have the number one defense overall. I think the Texans are also top, but they have the number one defense. They have a very solid offense that knows how to score when it needs to. They scored more this time than they typically do. They're just they're a very good all around team. They lost Zach Charbonnet to a season-ending ACL injury. And he is their leading touchdown guy. So there's a loss out of this game, but they came out of it mostly intact, still very good on offense, still exceptional on defense, and they won the right to go and keep moving forward. The biggest takeaway I have for 49er fans is the part that would suck about this is not that they lost. It's that they now know 100% that either the Rams, their rival, or the Seattle Seahawks, their rival, will be playing in their stadium for the Super Bowl in a couple weeks.
100%.
No matter what,
Yeah.
like one of their biggest rivals will be in their stadium playing for the Super Bowl. It's bound to happen when you're the host team for the Super Bowl, but I think that part probably stings a little bit more. And while I'm sure the San Francisco 49ers as an organization are going to have a lot of what if, we played so well through so many injuries. And I get that and I respect that. I would tell them sleep well. They're not constructed this year, even when healthy, to compete with the Seahawks. Maybe next year, maybe when they can revamp the defense and figure that out and make a couple of little moves here and there and all that kind of thing, because they did play really well in spite of a lot of injuries. But even at 100% healthy, they just had so many other things going on, wide receiver issues. That wasn't a health issue that kept, him out. The Seattle Seahawks are just built to take their shot this year. All on the backs of my quarterback. Not bitter.
49ers beat them first game of the year. But this game was over when that kickoff return started the game. That's when it was over. You can't be an inferior team and give up something like that first play of the game. That's when the game was over there, the kick return. It was like,
yeah, scored.
I
think it
so 14 seconds into it was a wrap, huh?
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Yeah. That first drive to me was most important because you score right there, you quiet the crowd down, you quiet yourselves down, but you needed points on that drive, and that was kind of what I watched. And I was like, this is gonna be tough, but you have to score. You must. So it happens.
And
cool,
and because all playoff games are important, I do want to point out one thing as the naysayer, Brock Purdy. He played bad in this game, 140 yards and an interception. He did not look like – there were a couple weeks this season where he was just awesome. He was dynamic. He was able to do it. He had the same injuries, maybe not what Kittle wasn't hurt back then, but he had the same, injury issues then, and he played so well in those games. And in this game, more important and a bigger game, he looked a little bit overwhelmed by the moment.
Yeah, I don't believe that once at all. He had no Pearsall, no Kittle, no Ayuk. He's playing with Demarcus Robinson. He's playing with Kendrick Bourne and some other guy. Those guys could not get open. They showed several replays. Those guys could not get open. I don't put this game on Purdy at all. You're not winning with those guys.
I didn't put it on him. I didn't say that. I said the whole team was not good enough.
But the whole team sucked. The whole team
was not good enough.
Better.
Yeah, he's on the team.
Better.
He was amongst the players who sucked.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely. They weren't going to be good regardless against Seattle.
B is funny. Hate to mention this, but let me go ahead and mention how your quarterback was trashed. Let me ask all this. Conspiracy says all the soft tissue injuries, or not all, but some of these soft tissue injuries are being affected and potentially caused by the Niners practice facility and stadium being right next to electrical substation. Do y'all put any credence in it? Do you think about it at all? Does it not matter?
Look, I've been reading about it. Oh, go ahead.
I've been reading about it for about 2-3 months, and it's kind of picked up traction. It's actually been interesting to watch. One person who did it, and then a bunch of the sports podcasts led by players started talking about it. And the idea is that their practice field being there. It's not if it was their game, they're only there for a couple hours for the game, but their practice field's right next to it. I hope they look into it. It's hard. There's still research going on about cancer clusters and parks with power lines, and they never can find anything definitive. But if you believe it's true, then fix it. They're not going to move the electrical substation, right? The 49ers got a lot of money. Might want to think about moving that practice facility. Or doing their own research and coming to their own conclusions. Because if they do their own research and find that it's safe, great. Then you get to live with those consequences. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not going to say I believe in it or I don't believe in it. But I do believe that as much money as that organization is worth and they're paying those players, I would be spending a whole lot of cash on some scientists to tell me. I don't care if they tell the rest of the world. To tell me, the owner, and the GM, what they think, and based off of what they think, I'd make decisions.
Yeah, look, I don't know if I believe it or not, but I know something is happening. I mean, there's a reason for all these injuries, and if it happens to be that substation, I'm with you. Pay some scientists, figure it out, and then do something about it, because year after year this is happening. Guys are just dropping. It's not just the backups; these are main guys, falling with soft tissue injuries. So I don't know what it is. I'm not necessarily saying I believe it or not, but I know I heard Delaney Walker talking about it. He's played for the 49ers, and he was saying it's always been they were talking about that as being the issue because of that substation back then. So I mean, I'm not saying it's nothing, but I'm not saying it's really something either until somebody does some concrete research on what's going on. But it has to stop because it's happening every single year. And maybe that substation is the reason, but They have to probably move that practice facility or something because it's not working out right now.
It's tough.
It's
Yeah,
killing the team.
put them in them vests that you get when you go to the dentist or something. They gotta do
Right.
something, bro.
You
Uh,
have to
Right.
put them around their knees, Achilles, knees and
something.
Right.
ankles.
Little EMP or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to get y'all's thoughts. All right, so then next game, Texans Patriots, snow game. Patriots prevail 28-16. What y'all think about that game?
Well, when I on go ahead, Brian. Start with this one.
4 interceptions. You can't win with 4 interceptions.
Very damn hard.
CJ Stroud has had a resurgent year at the beginning of the year. He had a great defense, and he did just enough to make sure that his team had no chance of winning in this game. And that's unfortunate because I think the Houston Texans are probably better than the Patriots. I picked them, obviously, errantly. But, you cannot have 4 interceptions in a game because every single time you give that ball up, and some of those were on the when they're making real drives and making real headway towards a score. Those are 14-point problems, not 7-point problems. So, anyways, CJ Stroud made sure that they had no chance. It's crazy to think that a playoff quarterback had a 28 quarterback rating, but he earned all of it, and there was nothing that could be done. This could have been a good game. This was not a very fun game to watch because you just wanted to see it over because you were just waiting for him to throw another one. But anyways, Jason, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, when I found out Friday that Nico Collins wasn't playing, I was out on Houston. I had to change my pick in my little point spread league in New England because Nico Collins is a big part of that offense. But I think there are two things about Houston that no one is talking about. First is how I said before the playoffs, Houston offense just hasn't been good since CJ Stroud's rookie year. Um, they are a bad red zone team. They settle for a lot of field goals when he's the quarterback. They're always ranked in the 20s in red zone efficiency. And the second thing people are not talking about is in Stroud's 3 playoff wins, the Texas defense has only allowed 32 points and the defense has scored 32 points in those games, 5 touchdowns and a blocked extra point return for 2 points. So I know people want to give CJ Stroud these props, say, oh, he's better than Justin Herbert, but what exactly does he do during these wins? He really hasn't done much. The defense has actually carried CJ Stroud. He hasn't done anything in the playoffs. So he just hasn't really played well to me since his rookie year when he was kind of killing it. Maybe it's right after he called himself a top 5 quarterback in the league his rookie year. He's kind of gone down since. So I think the Texans have issues on offense, and I think it starts with CJ Stroud. If they want to, make a deep playoff run, he's going to definitely have to play better. But in those wins, he really didn't play that well. Like, I think maybe in one game, kind of, but the defense is kind of taken over. And if the defense doesn't take over, he's not that good. But 4 interceptions, like you said, you're never going to probably win a playoff game with 4 interceptions. It's not going to happen.
Just got throwing my takes in there. CJ Stroud over Herbert, man. CJ McCollum over Herbert. Damn it. TJ Watt over Herbert. But no.
Funny.
Just kidding. All right, so yeah, so that's your Patriots Texans, and then last game, man, hell of a game. Rams Bears. Rams pull it out in the ice cold, 20 to
Man,
17 in overtime. Coop, what
Ice
you think, man?
cold.
NFC West, man.
I'm just gonna say, man, I thought I picked the Bears. I definitely took the Bears plus 3.5. They covered, but I thought they were gonna win this game, man. And when Caleb threw that interception, I said, game over. Stafford's not gonna mess this up. It's gonna be game
Tough.
over, and they made it happen. But I wholeheartedly thought from the very beginning that Chicago would be able to take advantage and of the Rams DBs will probably make some mistakes and the Bears will be able to take advantage. And they came back and got a score or whatever. And this was a really, really good football game.
Yeah, it
But
was.
turnovers, man, they decide games, man. And Caleb found out the hard way. He threw one, and when you're going against a veteran like Matt Stafford, man, who we all respect as I think in my mind, as a Hall of Fame quarterback, he
Yeah.
made things happen. And I'm one game away from the Super Bowl. Brian, what you thought about the game?
Yeah, I mean, I thought Matt Stafford did exactly the opposite of what CJ Stroud did, which was manage the game in a way and play as a technician in really horrible conditions. and waited for Caleb to make mistakes. And Caleb did what young people do in their first playoff series. He made mistakes, 3 of them, 3 interceptions, one of which cost him the game. But they wouldn't have been here without Caleb. So it's hard to fault him. This is the same thing I think about Josh Allen, right? Like they wouldn't be there where they were without Josh Allen. They wouldn't have been here without Caleb. He found ways game in and game out, especially in these playoffs, to find ways to win, to make crazy plays. The play that tied up the pass that he threw to tie the game was unreal. I don't know what the hell the defense was thinking, but that pass off of his back foot falling down into the end zone. It doesn't matter that the guy was wide open because most people couldn't have hit the guy, if they could step into it. He's got an amazing arm talent. He does what it takes to try and keep them in games. He has that kind of dynamic playmaker ability that I'm comparing right now to Josh Allen because I see some of the same type of approach and all of that. And so, I wasn't rooting for the Bears for darn sure, but it was cool to see. The Rams just did what you're supposed to do if you're a championship caliber team that has a superstar quarterback in Matt Stafford. They just didn't make mistakes. They knew that they were going into a hard home game in horrible conditions. They knew that this wasn't going to be one of those games where you were going to score 40. They knew that you weren't going to throw for 350, 400 yards and run for 230 yards. It wasn't going to be that kind of game. It was going to be a grind game. And in a grind game, like we talked about with other ones, you just can't, you have to not make the mistakes. And that's something that a veteran team led by a veteran like Stafford knows and understands, and something that Caleb Williams now understands. Not that I want to see it, but teams that go through what the Bears and Caleb just went through bounce back. This probably isn't the last we're going to see of him and that team. And Ben Johnson is more than proven his worth as the head coach of that, because that organization's been a disaster, and quarterbacks have gone there to die. I mean, there's just no history of quarterbacks being good. Caleb Williams is like 2 years away from being the best Bears quarterback ever. Like that's how bad the history of quarterbacks in Chicago is. And so they'll be back, I think, and I think they found the right combination of coach, quarterback, and mentality.
Definitely. Yeah. No, hell of a game. So that's that's the playoffs last week. Let's talk about the conference championships, man. We're coming up on the end of the season. Patriots and Broncos, Sunday, 12 noon Pacific time. Coop, start us off on this one.
Hold on. I want to say one piece of commentary before we start, because not talking about the game, just in general. Last week's games, we all were super excited about some really great matchups that we thought were going to be really interesting. Some were, some weren't. But we went into that weekend, and all of them were mostly pretty darn entertaining. This weekend's games suck. Now let's talk about it.
Yeah, real talk. Look, New England at Denver. This line was Denver -2, and then Bo Nix is not playing. It went up to New England -6, and then New England -5 right now. Last time I saw it. In this game, look, Bo Nix. I've said earlier this season, he's Jimmy G. He's completely carried by the roster that he's with, the people he plays with. If he was on a below average team, he would be 5-12 as a quarterback. But he plays on Denver with a good roster, so they have a good record. So I don't really see a drop off, that huge drop off that people seem to think there is between him and Jarrett Stidham. I don't think it's a 6-7 point drop off. So I'm taking Denver to win this game, and I think Sean Payton will figure out how to win a game with Jarrett Stidham as his quarterback.
Yeah, I've seen Stiddy play. He's all right. Almost beat y'all, man, when he was with the Raiders.
He did. Oh no, he didn't. But
almost.
I think he did.
Almost.
Yeah,
Yeah,
almost.
we was close. Yeah. We were watching the game at Brian, as a matter of fact.
Right.
B?
Yeah. So Brian, I'm taking Denver on the spread and Denver to win. What about you?
Definitely not that. But so what's funny about these two teams matching up is that they're the two teams that had the best records. But all of us have said all season long that those great records were built off of not playing anyone. And it's ironic to me that New England seems to have had this kind of fortuitous, I'm not saying easy, but fortuitous path through the playoffs, because they're playing against a team where their leading passer, Bo Nix, for 3,900 yards, is out. Their leading rusher, who has not rushed in a game since early November, J.K. Dobbins, is their leading rusher. He's not playing. He's been on injured reserve since the what was whatever week that was on 11-6. And a defense that's pretty darn solid. But you gotta score in order to be able to win. And Jarrett Stidham has another interesting fact. He is the only backup quarterback who has not thrown a pass for their team all season long.
Oh, wow.
He is also playing
what about
in
practice?
his.
I'm just playing. I'm playing.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm not even sure he got to play in practice, but he's the only one who has not thrown a pass. Every other backup quarterback in the entire league has had at least one pass registered in a game, except for Jarrett Stidham. The last time he played in a game was 2023. This is a huge moment to throw that man into. I just don't know that you could game plan enough to take away the fact that the dude just hasn't played. And so I got New England. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I don't think this, because I just don't think that you have enough opportunity to get Stidham ready to be able to compete in a championship game.
Yeah.
Even if you are playing against a New England team that's more smoke and mirrors than it is
at home.
Than it is challenging. And that'll help them. That'll help them keep it close. But Denver, in my opinion, Denver's not winning this game.
Hey, that boy Vrabel takes these boys to the Super Bowl that quick, Tennessee's gonna be over there looking hella dumb.
Right.
already.
It's too late.
It's too late. 14 wins.
I mean, you let your guy go. He wins a bunch of games. Cool. Then go to the Super Bowl and don't let him win it. Like, dang, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. All right, and then you got your whole division in the NFC the NFC championship. Cool. Rams versus Seahawks.
The division.
What you got, man?
I'll be quick. Until I see it, I'm taking the Rams. The Rams always seem to find a way to beat Seattle, and Darnold always seems to have bad games against the Rams. The players are still the same. Nobody's hurt. I just expect the same result. I know Seattle's favored. I think they're kind of overvalued because of that win against the 49ers. I think the Rams win is more impressive against Chicago, against a better team, of course, with the Chicago Bears and the 49ers. So I'm taking the Rams to win in Seattle, which hasn't been a problem in the past. And Seattle, people say Seattle has this home field advantage, but they really don't. I think that's built off the Legion of Boom. I think I saw a stat. There's 23 and 20. I think they're 23 and 21 at home. The last 44 games, so they don't really have this huge advantage that people think. So I got the Rams.
Cool. Do you dislike one of these teams more?
To be honest with you, I know a lot of Niner fans don't like these teams, and I understand why. But I don't have a big hatred for either team, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I just have a big hatred for the Cowboys. You know what I mean? Not really these two teams. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Get a little bit in tight. All right. Go ahead.
Okay. And but Glenn, I'll be honest, I have a hatred for the Raiders too, but not because of you. Let me just throw that out there.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I've known that. You ain't never had to tell me. It's obvious.
Man,
I just
took shots at all the family.
I just try and duck the strays, bro. I just try and duck the strays.
Oh, good. Go ahead.
Look, I've said it all season long. I picked Seattle to go through. I'm not going to jump off that bandwagon. I'm not disagreeing with anything that Jason said. If there is a team that's been able to have the Seahawks number, it is definitely the Rams. But everything has set up for them to have an opportunity to win and go to the Super Bowl. They're playing at home. They're playing well. They have a top defense. And they're playing against a Matt Stafford who, at the beginning of this season, didn't make mistakes. And while he made none last 100%. Week, he has had some games in the last month or so where he has had problems. So this game will be decided by Matt Stafford, win or lose. Matt Stafford has the technician game that he had last week and doesn't make mistakes and hopefully throws for a couple of touchdowns, maybe to Puka. Like this, they will win. But if he has even a little bit of a let off because they're playing a really good defense and he starts throwing picks like he has in some of these other games, you can't do that against the Seahawks. They're too complete on defense to give them even an inch. And so I'm not predicting that Stafford has a bad day, but I'm going to rock with the team I've been rocking with all season long. I'm going to say that the Seattle Seahawks are the best team in the NFL. I think this is really our Super Bowl. So if you are going to watch one game over the course of the next couple of weeks and going back a few weeks as well, this is the game. This is the game right here in the biggest moment and Lumen Field. But I think that the Seahawks are going to find a way to get past their hurdle and probably go on to win a Super Bowl.
There it is. All right, so that's the playoffs. Let's talk to coaches, man.
We're super opposed on this week, Jason. We took the opposite side of games.
That's why it's called Counterpoints. All right, so coaches, man. Sean McDermott gets fired after the Bills game. What are your thoughts on that
one? Look, I wasn't shocked, but I was surprised. The reason why I wasn't shocked because I could have saw this happening last year or the year before. I was surprised because I thought Buffalo operated like Pittsburgh. I thought they had low self-esteem and was just okay having a winning record and not really, winning in the playoffs. So it's the right move to me. You're a defensive coach. Both of those guys are defensive coaches, and your defenses aren't good, and your defenses routinely let you down, especially in Buffalo's case. I remember that game against Kansas City. I think all they needed was to hold on for 15 seconds, and then Mahomes hits Tyreek Hill on a bomb, and all of a sudden the game is over. So McDermott should leave. You want to get somebody else in there, but I think you're also going to have to get a better personnel guy in there because you're going to have to build that team because the way it's constructed now. And remember, this guy's over the defense. He has those defensive players. Those are his guys. So you need some different defensive players to kind of help Josh Allen in his prime and not just win a Super Bowl, but first get there. And so I was okay with the firing, and I think they're going to hire an offensive guy to come in, but also get a personnel guy because I think the GM is now the president of the team. So I guess it's going to be a new GM or something like that. So if they get an offensive guy and the personnel guy, and I think the Bills will be all right in the next couple of years, but I'm okay with the firing. What about you, Brian?
Also not surprised, but I'm going to sound like a broken record. It's just a dumb decision to get rid of someone who's performing well when you don't know what you're going to have lined up, right? Harbaugh's off the map. There's other coaches that are off the map. So the chances of you hiring someone who's definitively better than McDermott. Not saying McDermott's great. This is not a I love McDermott conversation. This is you need to do something better than what you had in order to make this worth it. And
now too.
McDermott had not. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And McDermott had not lost the locker room. And when you see coaches get fired before they've lost the locker room, then the next coach that comes in doesn't take over the locker room. Those teams go down in a hurry real fast. And I think we're going to see that with the Steelers because, you were talking about low morale. It didn't sound like it because every single player has come out and said that they are devastated Mike Tomlin's going to be there. And all that tells me is that whoever goes into that job next, they're going to have to be one of the world's most dynamic personalities, or they're going to have to dump everybody on that roster because that locker room, like the Bills locker room, was held by the coach. There was nobody. I mean, Josh Allen isn't that sad unless he knows those things are going down. We just talked about that. So you need to find somebody who Josh Allen is going to get excited about, and that's going to be tough because he was excited about the coach that's gone. So this is not to say that McDermott was great or anything like that, but unless you have a design on someone you're going to hire, unless you've been working back channels, and you know that XYZ might come in there, and that's going to get Josh Allen excited, and they're going to help be able to fix the defense or invigorate the offense. I just don't get it. I think people jump and then look to see if they have a parachute, and I think that firing McDermott
100%.
this year, if they fired him last year, the year before the bond that seems to have forged in that locker room was there, I would have understood it more than now. But anyways,
yeah, fair.
We'll see how it goes.
Let me get y'all quick thoughts on Harbaugh and the Giants.
The Giants, the Giants have a ton of money to offer. They offered it to the guy who is probably the biggest team foundation builder. One thing that is interesting for all the people who have come out to say it was stupid to get rid of Mike Tomlin on the team, nobody has done that for Harbaugh and Baltimore. I was a little surprised about that, but everybody came out like teary-eyed, like Mike Tomlin's my guy. This is wrong. Blah blah blah. Harbaugh was like, "Oh, he's out." And the owner got on there and did damn near slapstick comedy when he was talking about the whole situation. He's like, "Oh, what do you see him taking the Steelers job?" He's like, Tomlin, and they were talking about how Tomlin and him could swap spots. This is before Harbaugh had switched. So Harbaugh, he's got a great history. He won a thing. He's not as charismatic as you might need for a coach in New York. And he's got to capture a locker room and develop talent. There's talent on the team. And I just don't know that he's ever been that guy. Like, he's never been a developer of talent. We'll see how it all works out. I don't necessarily see this being the best fit. This is not me saying I don't like Harbaugh or have a problem with the Giants. I just don't see this fit working out.
Yeah, I look at Harbaugh just like Tomlin. I don't think neither of them are great coaches. They're completely reliant on assistants and evaluating personnel. They're both CEO head coaches, so it depends on who he hires as his OC and his DC. That will depend on how successful he is. And I don't think he's going to keep Joe Shane as the GM. And if he does, I'm sure Harbaugh's going to have more say over personnel. So he's completely relying on other people because if things go wrong, neither him or Tomlin are going to take over and coach the team. That's just not who they are. So it just depends who he hires as his coordinators and who's his personnel guy will determine his success. I just don't think he's a great in game or just a great coach, period. I mean, yes, he's racked up a lot of wins, I guess, thankfully to Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson, but I don't consider him the upper echelon of coaches. I just don't look at him that way. So we'll just see what happens with the Giants.
Quick thoughts on Stefanski in Atlanta?
So they're still going to lose. No, go ahead.
Stefanski, got his big moment as a Vikings offensive coordinator in a year that we went 10-6 and we're middle of the pack in offense. And I still haven't quite figured out how he's parlayed that into what he did in Cleveland. Again, I don't think he takes any of the blame for what happened in Cleveland because he gets to tell every single person he interviewed with, that was Cleveland. Like, they were just destined to screw up. It worked for every other coach that's gone through there who have had, wonderful careers.
Yeah, he won playoff games for them. So
he won one
against the Steelers.
Don't say games. Against the Steelers. Against top Steelers. Look, I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say one more thing. And then I have no idea what they think he's going to bring to Atlanta, because if you look at the teams that he has coached, they've never had anyone even close to as dynamic as Bijan Robinson. I think that should have been a huge consideration, is which coach is going to do the most with Bijan Robinson.
The running back, yeah.
And not worry about the quarterback. Stefanski's kind of known as more of a quarterback guy. I would have tried to find somebody who understands how to build running games that fit Bijan Robinson, because he's special. He's a generational talent at running back.
Yeah, I would have went the opposite. Without a quarterback, you ain't going nowhere. He's just going to be McCaffrey in Carolina, Bijan Robinson, and that's not going to do him any good. He doesn't have a quarterback, so I don't see how he can be successful in Atlanta unless he's able to draft or bring in somebody else. But until then, I just think Atlanta's just going to be Atlanta.
They don't have enough quarterbacks over there already.
Yeah, they got hella QBs.
No,
they got $40 million worth of quarterbacks every single year.
Right, and he does not have one. I mean, that Penix is just not going to get it done for him. So I don't know. It's an incomplete grade if I have to give one. I would say an I. Wait and see.
And then last one I wanted to ask you about was Mike McDaniel to the Chargers.
Well, you don't want to talk about Robert Saleh? Robert Saleh to Tennessee?
I guess that's going to be a huge game changer there. So go ahead.
Well, the thing about it is, so to me, this gave me Hugh Jackson vibes. You're pretty much taking the job. I know Brian likes to say, and he's right, the best jobs aren't usually available. You're usually not going to get a Chargers job where, Marty Schottenheimer got fired when he was 14-2 with 10 Pro Bowlers. But the thing about it, why I criticized the Hugh Jackson hire with Cleveland is because you picked the worst job. And I think Tennessee is the worst job where you're just looking to get fired again. That organization has always proven they do not have a clue of what they're doing. I think that's what's going to happen to Robert Saleh. I know he wants to get back into head coaching. And again, and I get it. I get the desire, but Tennessee, man, that's just going to be tough to build around, man. You really have nothing to work with, not even with ownership, a GM. You have nothing. So I'm interested to see who his coordinators are going to be, since Mike McDaniel's going to the Chargers, which he should. I would too. I wouldn't go to Tennessee. But I don't know about this, man. Looks like to me this is going to be another firing in about 3 years. But Brian, what you think about it?
Yeah, of course it is. And he knows that. You know what he gets, though? 3 years worth of NFL money.
Here he goes.
Again, the best job is a fired football coach. It is. It's just the reality of it. But yeah, no one else wanted him. He wasn't on anyone's short list. So he had to take the job he could get. And we've talked about this. The 49ers defense wasn't all that wonderful this year. So the fact that he was able to parlay a mediocre year for his unit into a head coaching job at any place, is okay. Yeah. Would he have probably done his long-term career better to have stayed and hopefully got the 49ers defense stood back up and then possibly take one of those other jobs sure, but a bird in the hand. I mean, there's no he was not on anyone's list this year. Right. There wasn't he didn't get 7 calls within 30 minutes of the of his announcement that he was out there, right? Like, I'm talking about Harbaugh. But anyways, yeah, I don't think that this is a great job. I think you're right. It probably is amongst the worst of the opportunities, and far from one of the best. But hats off to him. And I don't really think it makes a big difference. The 49ers have seemed to, be able to figure out who's next in line at these coordinator positions. And I don't think he did so much at that position. Remember, he was a tight end. It's not like it was a defensive player. So I never really understood how he became a defensive coordinator in the first place. But anyways,
There's a lot of talk about
our new defensive coordinator is probably going to be Raheem Morris, to be perfectly honest with you, the ex-Atlanta coach. But yeah, we can move on. Who's the last guy?
That would be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be a good hire.
Mike McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel to the Chargers. Coop, you were saying how that's where you would go. Why?
Justin Herbert. You got something to work with. You got Tua over there. That's a reclamation project that's never going to get reclaimed. Justin Herbert, man, you kind of
had a good offense.
Get another wide receiver. I don't know. I think it was a run-based offense, but you get another receiver with the Chargers. Get another lineman, and I think there's just some guys. I mean, Robert Saleh falls in this category. So does Josh McDaniels. There's just some guys I just think are really good coordinators. I just don't think they're that good. They will be good as head coaches, and I think McDaniel falls in that category. I don't think anybody would dispute that. He can call a game offensively and make some changes here and there, but he doesn't have to run the team with the Chargers, man. So he can, wear whatever type of shorts he wants to wear in his little meetings. He doesn't have to run the team, man. So it's a good fit for him. Yeah, I think it'll
Leave
work
that
out.
brother alone.
Oh,
Anyways, look, when you're coming out of a head coaching situation like he did in Miami, and you're picking your opportunity, you want toys in the cupboard, and you go to the Chargers, whether anyone else likes him or not. Herbert is probably the best of the quarterbacks outside of Allen. Allen wasn't available at that point in time. For these teams that need coach, that need an offense coordinator. Lad McConkey, Keenan Allen, and Quentin Johnston are damn good wide receivers as a core. So you got all that. And Marion Hampton, before he got hurt, was playing really well. Kamani Vidal was serviceable, but that's weapons. Like, if you're going to go someplace, you want to go to a place where there's already talent on the offensive side of the ball, and you can figure out something to do with that. This is a make or break season for both of them, because everyone's going to look at Justin Herbert and say, hey, man, it's not a Harbaugh run offense anymore that's just going to run the ball. You're going to have a dynamic offense with dynamic play calling. And Mike McDaniel, you've got wide receivers, running backs, and a quarterback that are all pretty good, not named Tua. You should be able to do something with this. And if you can, you'll get another head coaching job in 2 years. And if you can't, you will be a perpetual offensive coordinator for the rest of your life.
Ain't bad, yeah. And everybody's me. So what Brian was saying, everybody's me. I sent y'all the chat, man. This is Herbert's year. He better be MVP, because if he's not, I'm 50 Cent with the documentaries.
I don't know about the MVP, but you are 100% right that he has to show
top 10 offense.
He has all the tools in place, and now he has an offensive driven coach and coordinator to help him move wherever he's going to move.
Yeah, definitely. Man, that's it. That's our show. Great talking points, guys, as always. Pleasure doing the show with you. Last few segments. Let's start with hogwash this week. This is Brian said something was a bunch of hogwash once. We laughed and we made it a weekly segment from there. So we might be like 2 years in with hogwash. I don't even know at this point. We've been doing it a long time. B, what do you got right now that's hogwash in the world of sports?
Well, I should say it's to all the folks who talked about Tomlin, who are now get to watch all the stories about how every single player was like, no, that's our guy. He was not the problem. Yeah. Also, everyone's looking at analytics, and they had the cheapest assistant coaches in all of football by a large margin. They had the least amount of assistant coaches by a large margin. I think there's a lot to be said about that's hogwash about all the people that we're talking. Some people here included about Tomlin, but I'm not going to talk about that because those refs were pathetic, and it's a bunch of hogwash that we do not implement a rule whereby all turnovers are reviewed, and that is the biggest moment in one of the biggest games of the season, and we didn't give it enough time for a break to even just be able to go, yep, we're definitive, and this is why this should be done. It's just a miss. It's complete hogwash that we can't get that right, given all the things we put in place in the NFL.
Fair. Cool.
My hogwash is all the coach firings. All of them are justified, including Tomlin's. I mean, former players have said he's not that great of a coach.
How's that hogwash?
He has no influence on any game. So he should have been fired, like a lot of other coaches should have been fired. All the coaches that got fired should have been. You can't be stuck in neutral forever. You got to make a change, and this all starts with the coaching, the voice up top. And it was good. I mean, McDermott, Harbaugh, Tomlin, all of them need to go. Few of them probably need to go a couple years earlier, but all these coach firings are completely justified and good for those organizations to make a change and try something new because the old guard wasn't working.
Isn't that anti-hogwash?
I think he's saying
keeping them. It's hogwash keeping them. Yeah, the coach firings are justified. Yeah, all of them.
No one did be kept.
What about the game ball? Coop, you came up with this game ball for exemplary performance. Who you got?
Matt Stafford. Playing in the cold weather in Chicago. I know it wasn't easy. He looked cold to me on TV.
Boy, did but that boy's face was red, arms red. I was like, dang.
Man, he found a way to pull it out, man, in that weather. I know it's tough. I know it's hard. I've been in that weather, not played football, but I've been in that weather. I just can't imagine playing football in that weather. Being a dome team, it's hard for dome teams to go in that kind of weather and win games. I mean, that their dome team's record in that kind of weather is absolutely horrible, way below 500. So he gets my game for pulling this team out a victory in Chicago.
Nice, B. What you got?
I was going the exact same place, so I'm switching it on the fly. I'm going to give it to Walker. And for Seattle, 3 touchdowns, 116 yards.
Nice.
It's worthy of recognition. They lost Charbonnet, who had been their TD guy. He kept it going and we kept it moving in the right direction. But Stafford, what he did, that's the stuff that it should be on his Canton bust is when he gets there, and it's that he was able to find ways to win, even when he didn't throw for 3 or 4 touchdowns. It was a big game. He played well.
Definitely. Last segment, minute to win it. I just want to say thanks everybody for listening. And remember, if you think you can or you think you can't, you're correct. Thinking starts it all. Cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. Just thank everybody for listening. I'll save my minute to win it for next week. B, go ahead and close it out.
We're living in a parody, folks. I mean, you listen to these speeches that our leader is giving related to a country that we have no reason to be bothering, or what's going on in my hometown of Minnesota. And I'm not sure who his speechwriter was, whether it was Beavis and Butthead or the writers of The Simpsons. But either way, it is, we're living in a parody. We're doing a satire on reality at this point. But my heart goes out to both the people who have been hurt and harmed in Minnesota, but most importantly, to the people who are standing up. It is cold out there right now, -10. In some parts, it was -50. And they were out in force. They were protesting peacefully, intelligently. They were making their presence felt. They were doing it, in air quotes, the right way. My heart goes out to them. They deserve our support and recognition from afar. I mean, none of us are going to hop on a plane and go into Arctic weather to protest with them. But from afar, we can acknowledge the value of what they're doing.
Definitely. That Sports Counterpoints is January 21st, 2026. We'll catch y'all next time. Thanks for listening.